Great. Go ahead.
Hey, George, how are you?
I'm very well, Sebastian. How are you? Thank you for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Thanks to you. We have a little time, so I'll start right away. You have been in a lot of big movies lately. So how was your approach to Red Notice? What makes this one different from the others?
I think the biggest issue and the first thing that we had to really face was the fact that this was going to be a huge movie, but with three of the biggest movie stars on the planet. So that was honestly the most exciting and also the most daunting part of making an action movie, because they've been around so much action and they've done so much cool action already. So putting the three of them together, we really knew that we had to make it even better. We had to come up with something that was going to be so much fun for everybody to enjoy.
In that same way, how far can you go using Dwayne, Ryan, or Gal on the action sequences? What was the limit for them?
So we would kind of the methodology we use, and it doesn't just pertain to this movie, kind of across the board, is we would always do shoot as much as we can with the doubles, so we can understand what parts are dangerous, where the actors might, where we would consider swapping them out for the doubles. And then once we know our parameters, we would then rehearse with our actors, we would get them up to speed, and then we would just pick certain sections that we would shoot with our heroes and other sections that we would shoot with our doubles. Because ultimately, the three of them, DJ, Ryan, and Gal, are incredibly talented. They're all in incredibly great shape and more than capable of doing 99% of all the action anyway. But obviously we have to be very careful with them because they're too valuable to the movie to risk hurting them in any way, So, but physically they're incredibly talented and incredibly capable.
Did you get to a point where they say, no, we won't stop, I'll do this?
There was a few moments where they were having a lot of fun with the action, where they were like, no, I got it. So they would, especially in the fight stuff in the display room, some of those moves, that was a very complicated sequence. And, we would just take our time and block through the action, and they did great. They did so amazing. It was really fun watching them.
Yeah, so you had a lot of action sequences in confined spaces, but the scene on the vault, the red room, it's really something when I watch the movie. So how do you plan something like that? Do you go like, what are we trashing first, and then we go on and on and on? How do you plan that?
So basically, that was a set that was built on a stage. So early on, the art department would have visual pictures of what they think it should look like, and how big the room's going to be and how big the spacing's going to be. So we would take those plans to our rehearsal stage, and believe it or not, we would build that room out of cardboard boxes. So we would build all the walls, we would build where the displays are going to be, and we would mark it out kind of inch perfect. So we have like a rehearsal of what the set is going to look like weeks and weeks before they even start building. So then from there, we would grab the director and we would, ask him to come over to our set, and we would have the doubles, and we would just block through where he wants the action to go, because we always knew that the back wall was always going to have that red silhouette, and he always wanted like this beautiful silhouette shot of all three of them fighting along that back wall. So, we always had to make sure that we were going to start here, we had to get here, we would then travel from here to here, and he would end here. So once we had the pieces of the puzzle, then, the director would kind of turn it over to us to work on all the fun stuff that we would just kind of piece the puzzle together with.
What about the costume? Because Dwayne is in a suit, in a formal suit, and Gal is in a long dress. How difficult is for you to do the choreography to a fight like that?
I mean, it's obviously, it's obviously something that we have to take into consideration. So, what we would normally do is get the fight to a place where the director and the cast are happy and it looks good, because most stunt guys come to work in t-shirts and a pair of tracksuit bottoms, so that's
Yeah.
very different to wearing a fitted Tom Ford jacket, so we would do that. And then the incredible costume department would get us rehearsal costumes. So rather than spending thousands and thousands of dollars on this stunning wardrobe, they would get cheap kind of versions of it. We would put our stunties in it, and then we would do the whole fight, and we would work out, oh, yeah, this is going to have to change, or else we're going to rip the costume here. When Gal does this kick here, we have to make sure the cameras are here, and it, we try to cover as many of those bases as possible before we get on the day of the shooting.
And what about the physics, the bodies of the actors? Because you have Dwayne, he's huge, and Gal is more skinny, the same as Ryan. So how do you design the choreographies, thinking in the bodies of the different actors?
Well, I was very lucky because when we started the movie very early on, obviously these actors are incredibly busy and their time is so, it's finite.
Yeah.
But all three of them have stunt doubles that have worked with them for many years. And, Dwayne has his double, Tanawai, who's actually his cousin, and he looks just like him, like he's huge. And Ryan has Johnny James, who's worked with him on other movies. Gal has Christiane, who worked with her on Wonder Woman. So when we were putting the fights together, they all have exactly the same physicalities as the actors. And another trait that stunt people have to be good at doing is not only being physically capable and tough and all of those kind of usual things you would expect, but they also have to learn to move and walk and run like the actors and even fight the way that the actors fight. So that really helps us. Having the three of those people together to put the fight together was really beneficial. It really helps understand the way that they move, the way they walk, and what they like to do and what doesn't work for them,
So after all we have talked, my thinking in all the conditions and everything, which was the most difficult scene you have to manage in this movie?
I would say that the car chase in the mine was logistically very tricky. There was a lot of moving parts. We had to make sure everybody was safe because we were in a dark mine, and we were chasing at 50, 60, 70 miles an hour with vehicles moving and banging into each other. So logistically, that was tricky. And I would say the fight in the display room was probably the one I was most nervous about, just because I just wanted it to be good. I just wanted to make sure that everybody was happy.
Okay, last question. So many people speaks about the freedom that Netflix gives to them. So how is it different for you to work with Warner Brothers or Universal, or, in comparison, in parallel with Netflix?
I mean, I guess the basic way that a big movie is put together definitely stays the same, but you can absolutely feel the freedom that Netflix gives a director like Rawson to they give him these abilities to run with these ideas. And I think it paid off. I think Rawson is incredibly talented. His comedic timing when he's put together with these actors is just genius. Like there's some hilarious moments in this movie, and I think it's fun. It's fun to allow a director to play in those realms.
Well, George, thank you very much for this interview.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.
Nice action sequences.
Thank you so much. Thank you.